I just bought this 2012 X5 diesel at auction to turn into my new daily and tow rig. It was listed as a clean title, running driving vehicle, but it definitely had its share of issues. Went through and fixed the brakes, troubleshot a no boost issue, as well as did all the service on the diffs and vacuum lines. And we daily drove it for a few months, but now it's time to turn up the power a little bit. All right, so I'm a little under the weather today, but the show must go on. I just got the warning from my def that it is going to be empty in a couple hundred miles, and it is not enough that I can make it through the next week. So the D-flasher got sent back and then cleared and then shipped another one back, and that one cleared customs this time. So we are going to try and get the delete done today, and hopefully it shows up tomorrow like it's supposed to. I don't know how reliable FedEx is going to be on Sunday, but got my work cut out for me with a few things to do. So we've got the high flow cat to install. With all of the tariffs in place right now, I did not end up buying a kit or anything for the EGR block offs. So I went to everyone's favorite place, Amazon.com. I also got a replacement wheel bearing for the one that was missing hardware. They sent me the whole new wheel bearing instead of just the hardware. I got this sheet of aluminum. It's a 1/4 inch thick, so I'm gonna trace the EGR flanges and then cut that out from there. We have a replacement glow plug that we're hopefully gonna clear that cylinder 2 error with, and some flanges and an exhaust kit to make the rest of the exhaust a little bit more breathable. We're just going to be modifying the existing exhaust in it, and hopefully we'll be good to go before the end of the day today. The last time this took like 15 hours to get the DPF out. I'm hoping I can beat it this time and get it done a little bit faster, having done it once before, but we'll see, because it's definitely not a convenient or easy job to do. But we're going to go for it, try getting this knocked out, and then I'm going to focus on the upper stuff second, because this should be easier to do. So I will keep you guys updated as this goes along, and normally I would try going a little bit faster, but I really do not feel great today. It is currently 2 p.m., so we'll see where we're at a little later, and I'll update you. But basically, all of this stuff needs to come off, which I've done dozens of times. Down below through here, we've got to remove all of the sensors plugged in for the pressure and the turbos, get the EGTs, the O2s off, and I think that's it for the majority of it. I'm also hoping that this will solve the smell of diesel I have going into my car when stopped, because it's been pretty bad all of a sudden. So, and then it's just wrestling it out. I'm going to lower the subframe to try squeezing it out just to make it a little bit easier. But we'll see how long this takes, and I will update you guys as we go. So we've almost got the low pressure EGR out. I've got another one, but there's basically one bolt up there, 2 bolts holding the flange on. Two bolts holding the flange on to the turbo, 2 bolts in the middle, and then 2 E10s on the back. And then you have 2 coolant lines. I'm just letting this drain for now, and then we'll go from there. You've also got one plug, which is up through here, and then the vacuum line going to the EGR as well, which I think we can fully remove now, which will be nice, just to clean it up a little bit. This is almost done draining, so that's good. But from a perspective outside of the car, which this helped a lot because this took a few hours to get out the first time. This time it's taken no time. You have two 14s up at the top for the flange going to the turbo. Your vacuum line and connector here. Coolant line 1, coolant line 2. And you can just end up looping these, which is nice. Top bolt, bottom bolt, and then on the back there's two E10s. These you can do from underneath. This bottom one is a little tricky. You can kind of go up through the footwell or the wheel well area. Top one you can hit from the top, and then both of these you can hit from the top as well. This one I would use a 1/4 inch ratchet though. Just makes the space constraints a little bit better. So then, once this is done draining and I can prevent making a bigger mess, I'm gonna get this out and we'll get the low pressure EGR out. And then it's gonna be getting the DPF out. I'm gonna lower the subframe as much as I can. I think it's 3 bolts. So we'll drop this a bunch. Engine mount needs to come out. The engine arm needs to come out. There's 2 bolts, I believe, one right here, and then there's one tucked way up on this side of the EGR, holding the DPF in, and then the V-band. And then it should be good to come out. And then we've got the clamp for the injector here with 2 really not good looking bolts, or what's left of them. That's not gonna be fun. And then I'm gonna cut this whole box out, I think, and weld in a pipe section here just to cut it out completely. So we'll see how it goes, and I will update you once the EGR is out. This guy came out super easy. Totally would recommend pulling it from the top. Get it loose, make sure you can wiggle it around, and then you can squeeze it up in the front like right section. And it comes out pretty easy. These guys I'm not looking forward to taking out. So for once, I'm gonna be a little smart about this and try making it easy. All right, so haven't even gotten to the hard part yet. This was a royal pain in the ass. Both of these were supposed to be, I think, 12 or 13s, but this is all that was left on both of them. Yeah, so those were completely seized. Couldn't get this off, which I wanted to keep the flange because I wanted to just build a intermediate pipe between this. Because that was stuck, we couldn't drop the rest of the exhaust, so I ended up just hacking this away. All the O2 sensors are completely frozen in these bungs, so this got cut. And now we've lightened out this. I got lucky and I got both pieces out in one whole unit. I'm gonna push this back closed, weld this back up, and then it'll be time to get the DPF out. Yeah, so far, aside from the things that should have been easy, everything's gone okay. We'll get the engine support bar up and then lower the subframe as much as possible, and then try getting the engine arm out, the engine mount, and then try dropping the DPF. We should only have like 2 bolts left for the DPF and then the V-band. And then hopefully that'll be out and we don't have 10,000 more issues putting everything back in, but that's working on cars. So, little next update. Exhaust, my brother wants to test welding. He is retacking up the space we cut out. I just got done making the block offs for the EGRs. I may need to bore these holes out a little bit more. This one's a little close, but I think it'll still work. Even though they're not the prettiest, they will work, and it was definitely better than spending, with all the tariffs now, I think they're like $200 to do the EGR deletes from Bimmertune. I don't know how much the ones are from Cascade, but this was a $20 piece of aluminum, and it's 1/4 inch thick. It'll do the job. Sure, it took, 45 minutes to, well, probably an hour to cut it, grind it, shape it, and just make it a little pretty, but I think that's worth the money. I think we're gonna be calling it for tonight though, after we get that all folded back up, and then I will aim to get the downpipe and stuff out tomorrow. What's the time right now? So it is 9 o'clock. I started at 2 and we took like an hour and a half break. So we're like 5.5 hours into this, and that's with having to make parts and cut stuff up instead of just buying a kit. So honestly, not too bad, and the money savings it's kind of been my favorite thing about this, right? You can buy one of these for, $4,000 or $5,000, and if you live in a area where you're going to be using it for off-road use only, you can do these tune and deletes for like $500-600 depending on how much experience you have, and even then it's really not a difficult project. So worst case is you make some stuff, doesn't look great, and you save some money and get a cool daily driver out of it. So I will probably update you guys tomorrow when we get back out here to hopefully finish this up, and hopefully the deflasher will be in. It said it's supposed to be here tomorrow after the second one got turned back, so fingers crossed that gets here so we can get this thing in and out and see how everything goes on Monday. All right, so DPF, got the 2 bolts out. You have one that's right here and then one up there. That one broke, my V-band clip broke. Everything kind of broke because it's all rusty and kind of garbage. But when you get this out, once you undo the V-band in the front, you can get the DPF a little loose in here. I just pushed a pickle fork up in there, but then the top bolt that's hidden, you can get a ratchet with like one medium-sized extension. I think it's like a 6-inch one, and then tuck it through. I dropped a shallow 16 on the top to get it in there, and then just got that through, and this broke free really easily. And this is the difficult part to get this arm out, is getting this top bolt, because all the other 3 are accessible here, like here, and then one more on the top. So we'll see what happens when we get this out. I also jacked up the engine super far with a support bar, so we've got like an inch off of the motor mount, but we're gonna get this out, get the arm out, and then hopefully this will come out with minimal fighting. Nothing is going according to plans, so I'll put you up a bit higher. V-band bolt broke, DPF horrible. So instead of buying a new one, which is like $40, we're trying to get this apart where the bolt's sheared and get a different bolt to put through it. Oh God. Despite the horrible noises it's making, it is working. Do I have any tips for getting the DPF out? Absolutely not. That went miserably. Lower the subframe, jack up your engine, and fight like hell. I'm going to keep getting this apart and see if I have a bolt that's 10 feet long to put through this to not have to go buy a new V-band. In an unsurprising turn of events, nothing showed up on time. Deflasher got held up in customs again, and that delayed it about a week. So we were down the whole week. Fortunately, we had a backup car I could use for the time being. And then again, I didn't check a lot of stuff. So since we've already pulled this off, I just went ahead and did it. But pulled the intake manifold back off. Swirl flaps were all leaking insanely bad. The whole intake manifold was just covered. But we got the deletes on. These gaskets are okay. I need to replace these little seal ones. And then I found out that the gaskets for this portion of the intake manifold only had 5 of 6, which obviously won't work. So on top of that, we got a new V-band, which is pre-crushed, so that's good. We ordered, let me see if I can sew with one hand. More gaskets. Unfortunately, one was like $8 and a whole pack of them was like $20, so I just went ahead and bought all new ones. And then, finally, the piece of the puzzle I've been waiting the longest for, we got the T-flasher. So, I'm going to get the glow plug swapped out on this, get the downpipe now in and fastened, and see if I can mend some of the heat shielding that was mangled during removal. I don't know if jacking this up caused a problem, so maybe I wouldn't do that. Because when we did it with my brother's car, it wasn't that bad to squeeze it out. This one didn't take as long, but it was definitely a lot harder to get out. So maybe don't raise the engine up to try and get some more space in there. I feel like if it actually lowered a bit, it may be more helpful, but I'm not 100% sure. But it's out, and that's that. So I'm gonna get the glow plug swapped out, and then work on getting the downpipe in, and then I need to take what's left of this 3-inch pipe, cut a slit in it so it'll slide over this right there, and then put a flange on the other side to then bolt it up to the rest of the stock exhaust. And then I need to figure this out because one of the studs in the car completely sheared off the second I tried breaking it loose. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do with that. And if I can't figure out a good solution, then I may just end up cutting the exhaust right there and just have it dumped with the axle for the time being until I figure out a better solution or how to repair the chassis portion. So hopefully this will be done today, and then I can get this back on the road and then start logging some information with the D-flasher and see how it is. I know these tunes have been around for a while, but the D-flasher itself seems to be a little different with some of the alignment numbers I could find, so we'll figure it out. And then I also need to figure out the high drain I have. Both my comfort access handles on the rear don't work, so I've been looking for another sparkling bronze set to replace them, which is apparently more difficult to find than I thought it would be. So I'm just going to unplug these because they don't work, and hopefully that'll solve the high battery drain for the time being. So yeah, I'm going to get started on this and update you guys as we go along, because reassembly is going to be easier than the disassembly was. So I'll see you guys in a minute.
All right, so exhaust downpipe is in. It did not fit nearly as well. This China pipe, not nearly as good as the first one I got, but I did get it. V-band on, coolant line here looped, and the bracket was real far off. So I got this spacer in between here to hold that, but that is not actually a real spacer. That is a pilot bushing from a Corvette LS. So yeah, but it was a perfect size. Now we just gotta get everything else up, and then we'll be good to go. I'm gonna swap the fuel filter out. Yeah, and then we'll get to the flashing portion, which is the part I'm most excited for.
I don't know what you picked.
Standard license. Standard license successfully redeemed. Continue.
Come with a map.
Ooh, okay, so TCU flashing is probably coming. Stage 2. Yeah, I'm low.
Always no diesel. Wait, what do you want?
Yep, I agree.
Oh,
Yep.
we're at the same. Never mind.
Turn ignition on. Buckle seatbelt. Connect to battery charger.
Let me hook it up again.
Oh, did you disconnect it?
Yeah.
Yeah, connect it. I don't know why I gotta
Safety first. Duh.
Buckle driver seatbelt. Done. Go ahead and put it on full. Hit charge. You gotta hit charge. All right. Flash. What is that noise?
This makes a noise. It's got a gurgly tummy.
What do you want to wiggle this one?
Straight this way.
Is it leaking stuff?
Is there a puddle underneath the car ride?
I mean, I don't know. There is one, but I don't know if that was there earlier. So, see it?
No, it's all there.
That was weird. It sounds like it's running the fuel pump.
I think it could be the air that we have in the line when we feel. What?
Okay, 99. Ask later. Please turn ignition off if not ready off. Wait 30 seconds before starting the engine.
That's a flash D right
Off.
there. The D has been flashed.
Off.
That D has been flashed.
Yo, put that D away. You can't be flashing that shit.
Dude.
In
Stop,
public.
dude. We're gonna mess up his counting. Freaking out.
Yeah, demon. Oh, that is a dirty tune.
Is it bad?
That's bad.
Reduced engine power. Immediately. Alright, so the connector down, just real quick. Connector down there, it's way up under, kind of back here above the wastegate. That one didn't feel like it was seated all the way, and I'm hoping that's a result of the boost issue, because everything else is still plugged in and still working. Well, everything else is still plugged in, and nothing else looks damaged. And since everything worked before I took it apart, don't really see much logic in it breaking. Next thing is I'm ripping off the front EGR. I tried doing a simple block off here, but I think something's broken in the EGR because this just basically exploded. With these kits that you can buy, there are these little coolant block-off connectors right here. This is the part number for the bigger ones, and for the smaller ones, it is going to be that right there. I ordered a bunch of them, also from China, and they worked just as well as the OEM part, and are like a fifth the cost. So I would say probably better to do that. So we'll get that capped off, hopefully not leak too much coolant, and then try getting this off. There's two like Torx bolts way back under the vacuum pump. Back there, you kind of T50s or something, T45s. They're kind of big, and it's way back there. We gotta get those off, and then we should be able to pull the rest of the EGR off. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut this flange off, and then weld a plate over it, and then use that with the V-band to seal it up and just use the stock ASV and throttle body situation here until either the tariff stuff gets a little less crazy or until I decide to get a little wild and try getting flanges and then building my own for cheaper. So we'll see how this goes, and like always, I'll keep you updated as soon as we either hit a hiccup or get something out. All right, a little break later, EGR is out. These are pretty straightforward. It's like one bolt here, one bolt like up under by where the plate is. We've got my replacement plate in there, and then cap 1. Cap 2 is in a little tricky spot, right back here. Let's see if I can get you down there. You can kind of see it. But that cap, best thing I can recommend for that is I cut the line for it because it was in the way. Pry up the edge of it with a pick, like where the 2 retaining tabs are. Pry up the edge a little bit, and then if you cut the hose, you can spin it and then just give it a good little pull, and it should just pop right off, which is really nice. I think that's it for this whole front part now. I just need to reassemble and then see if it still immediately goes into limp mode. I'm hoping not, and that I can put this through its paces this week, but who knows? We'll see what happens. Let's see if we can do a little magic since this has been done like 10 times. Like that, it's back together. This is the solution I came up with. I got a little plate here and put some RTV on this, cleaned it up nicely, put the V-band back on. That way, that's all out of the way, and at least closed up and cleaned up enough that it looks okay. And now the real test is this thing going to immediately go back into limp mode, or is it going to work? I am not sure, but we'll find out here shortly. I do need to get more coolant for it too, so this will be a quick little test since it's very low. Alrighty, I think I found out what the problem was. So when I was putting everything back together, I hit a snag with this bracket here when I was putting the intake manifold back in, and didn't think anything of it, put everything back in, and when I was running the car, it seemed like I was having no boost. It was just basically, you could hear the turbo spooling, but I was getting nothing. And I'll insert a clip of what it was doing here. But basically, it was just dumping fuel and not having any boost and was falling on its face immediately. So, took the intake manifold back off, and what had happened was when I was putting it on and I hit that snag, the cylinder 1 intake manifold gasket, the lower one, fell out. And I didn't catch it, so I put everything in, so it was just spraying all the boost out there and maybe giving me a little bit. But, smoke tester, invaluable. Conveniently, the map sensor fit it, so plumbed that. Ton of smoke was coming out of there, which gave me my answer. Took it back off. The gasket had dropped straight down. Got that back in, ran the smoke tester again. No more leak. Now I've just got to get the EGR block off plate back on because I thought maybe that was the problem, but it looks like that's sealing. But I think it'll be safe to just run it. Clearly nothing's escaping around it, otherwise we'd see black smoke. But I may go run to the store real quick and go get some gasket maker just to have it in there for peace of mind. So yeah, I will update you guys shortly, and hopefully when we get to take this thing out and see what the tune does. So it's been a couple weeks since I've gotten everything all done. Unfortunately, the week after I got it done, I got let go for my job, so I didn't get as much miles to put on it to see how it was going to be. But at the moment, I have definitely not been driving it very sensibly, and we're not doing too hot in the mileage department. We're at 289 miles, and I've used almost 3/4 of a tank, which I think is probably worse than what I was getting pre-delete. However, the car is running fantastic, minus the check engine light. I put that new glow plug in, and it seemed to fixed the glow plug issue, and then it came back for cylinder 2, so I think my glow plug module is bad. So I know that's not helping it. It's been pretty cold in the mornings when I've had to use this, and you can definitely tell that one of the glow plugs is not working. So I'm gonna get that all set up now that it's cooling down, repaired. Also, I found a hitch local to me. It was about 150 bucks. So we're gonna get to see what this thing does towing. I need to service the transom before we start pulling anything really heavy, just to make sure I'm not gonna blow it up. So after we took it out and drove it for a bit, I went and filled up. It got about 20 miles of the gallon, which was like 5 less than what I was getting pre-delete. So I think something may still be up. I think I may have like a boost leak or something. So I still got to investigate that. But I did have a clip of doing a 0 to 60 in it. I didn't unfortunately have one pre-delete. I only had like one minor pull, so it's definitely way off. But here are those two things. All right. So we hit a red light. We're gonna try this one more time. Acceleration test set at 0. And 60. So what's next for the X5? We're going to be getting the trailer hitch on, and we're gonna be bringing over the next project. The next thing on the chopping block is going to be the 2002. So we're going to get the engine and everything all prepped for that and get it put into the car. So that'll be coming in the next couple weeks, hopefully. And there's a bit more I need to do since I don't think the X5 is running 100%. I am going to turn down the tune to see what kind of mileage I'm getting. I may just go back to the stage 0 tune, just all the deletes on it, just to see what it gets and see if I get close to that 25. I was getting it before, so it should realistically still be getting it now, and it has a bit less leaks than before. Then that glow plug module is going to be coming, rear struts, and I'm going to be doing all the pulleys and everything like that on the front, as well as the thermostat, just to see and kind of make sure everything's cleaned up in the engine and make sure it's good, running well for at least the foreseeable future. And then that trans service will be coming up, and we'll see what happens with the rest of it. But I appreciate everybody who joined in watching this. I don't think this will be the last car I buy from auction. There's a few other ones I'm looking at, so hopefully something else will come along soon. But we're going to touch the other projects beforehand and get those running. But it should hopefully be the 2002 next for like the next major one. I believe I am going to be pulling the engine on that E46 as well, just to get it cleaned up and sold, as well as the E36, just kind of minor stuff with those. But those will be coming in the next, hopefully, few weeks. Now that it's cooling down, it's just a little bit tougher to kind of get out there. I think everybody has that feeling once it cools down, getting out into the garage and working on stuff, especially with the roof leaking, which I need to also get sorted. But I appreciate everybody for coming along, watching, and subscribing. We are getting closer and closer to the goal of 500 next. So if you guys liked it, feel free to drop a like, comment, subscribe. And if not, hopefully I'll see you guys in the future.